Okay, the next step to quickly using ZBrush to create some awesome sculptures, and we're going to use the basic anatomy sheets that I've handed out and biped recipe, is to use Pureref. So the Pureref tools, I've provided a document of the shortcut keys that was I've discovered how powerful it was from this gentleman right here. Make sure I give him a shout out. Arvid Schneider has a wonderful video. It's about 12 minutes long that really kind of demystified or allows us to use Pureref to not just arrange images, but to actually put it in overlay mode, Control Y, uh, control the opacity using Control Alt Shift left click. So I'm going to go Control Shift Alt and then left click, and you see if I click in this, it's going to actually make it more or less transparent. Click over here, and the next one, and grab them both and make them both all the way opaque. And of course, I can grab them both and make them the same lower opacity. Control Y on the overlay. Control F is for full screen mode. So I'm going to go Control F, Control Y, and there we go. Now you can see I have it overlaid over ZBrush, so you can control the opacity here. Freezing it's Control T. When you're done freezing it, however, you have to go down to the Pureref dock and you have to freeze, unfreeze, and the pin is right over here. The always on top, and the transparency mode for the mouse is T. So just be aware of that. If you have the notes with you, should be okay. So I'm going to bring these over here. I'm going to take this more detailed anatomy piece and I'm going to shrink this down to here. There we go. So I don't really need that at the moment, but I do want the major landmarks here. So the major landmarks are really important to kind of get in there first. So I'll go back to ZBrush here and then back to Pureref. And if I want Pureref on top, Pureref on top, I'm going to hit Control Shift A. And so now if I click in ZBrush, it's on top of ZBrush. But I can still click on the Pureref piece, which I don't want to do anymore. So that is where you want to freeze the overlay, which is now Control T. And it says transparent to mouse, meaning I can't click it with the mouse any longer. So there we go. So I have this kind of my blah blane wireframe started, and it's nothing too exciting yet. It's something that was made with cylinders and just kind of very loosely put to some anatomy, so you can see the toes. P for perspective, excuse me. And so we're going to go through and we're going to put all the main landmarks into the body. So all these, where the bony protrusions are, the big major overlap muscle groups here. We're going to use the Pureref information from our reference to block this in very quickly. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have my custom user interface that was in the previous video. And so what I'll do here is I'm going to delete higher so that I start at the same ground level as everyone, and grab my Wacom tablet, of course. And I'm going to hit Control D once and twice. See, that's dividing my subdivision. I have the tool up here on the top. I'm at 44,000. I can hit it one more time, and we can see over there, if I hit out of perspective, I'm just going to keep it orthographic with my reference. And the shoulders and back region is really tough as well. So there's a few things we can do here. So I'm going to go back to the highest subdivision, Control, Shift D all the way down. Shift F is going to be wireframe or polyframe mode, excuse me. And I'm just, just using the Control drag to mask this off. Now, if I go to empty space and tap one time while holding Control, it's going to reverse my masking. I'm then going to hit E on the keyboard to scale, and I can unlock the scale tool. Just checking the dots. See the dots on each side, so it is symmetrical. So you just got to watch that. And I can bring this up. So this is similar to what we did in Maya, where we would use soft select, grab the arm, move the pivot to the center or to the right spot you want it to go. This one I can lock back up again. I can bring the arms in. So I'm trying to get that relaxed pose, and you can see as I do that, it's going to kind of crunch in the armpits here. So I can go back to Q, Control tap one time. It's going to make it a little bit more of a fall off, and come back into this road. And there now I see it squishing. It's actually moving the shoulders up a little bit, which I don't mind too much, but not exactly what I wanted. It's all right, and that should be pretty good. And we can also now, if I bring this back, bring the elbow back just a little bit, just about like that. And I think it's bending a little too much at the arm, so a little more than I would have wanted. So I'll do a fresh control drag, clear the mask, go back to my forearm up here, and we're going to move the unlock the gizmo, drag it down. And I'm still learning to get this part done correctly. I think is a hold control and tap. It's at least they have a gizmo now. For the longest time, they didn't have a gizmo at all. So um, yeah, not my specialty yet. So you go back to Q. What happened here? There's one way. Let's just clear the mask and do it again. So go control, drag across, reverse to tap, and control tap one time. That makes a little bit more of a gradient fall off. There we go. And then I can grab the arm here and lock it. And there we go. Kind of bring that back just a little bit more natural look to it. I think that'll be okay. You could even maybe bring it out slightly like that. You see the fingers are really horrible, right? They're just little cigar, super skinny cigar pipes on there. Okay, but that's a start. Control drag, go back to Q, and we can mask off holding control, go to the whole hand to the wrist here. And if I want to get that last little bit, still add to it. There we go. Control tap one time on the empty space, reverse it, control tap to make it have a gradient. Let me undo that. Let's just try in this time around. I'm going to unlock and reset the gizmo. Use the control here in the front, bring it down to the wrist, go to the side view. There we go. And then I'm going to rotate that. It's very similar to what we do in Maya with the biped recipe. There we go. And I want to just go really slight curve. So I'm going to relock the gizmo. I'm going to turn and just make a really slight relaxed bend in the wrist. That should be okay. Just being really careful here not to create any damage to the model. And getting a relaxed pose is one of the first keys, I think, to getting a good sculpt done, a good base sculpt that you're going to rig and animate, or rig and pose at least. There we go. So that takes care of the majority of the arm and the hand position. So I can go to my shortcut keys down here. So Control B, Control V for move. So you know those. And so I'm going to go Control V, bracket down. And anytime you're crumpling, see a crumple zone happen, hold shift. The default on shift is usually 100%. I have mine way down to like 34 and it's still pretty strong. And we're just going to push that bicep up underneath that deltoid right there. And then go to the side over here and we can see the shoulders usually need to come back. And I think maybe his head got a little truncated there from the front and the side. So using the move brush, I'm going to maybe bring some of the throat back a little more to where it's going to touch upon the clavicle. And that's looking okay right here, the abdominal area. And it's kind of a slow, just nudging and pushing process following this. So right here's usually the first area to really correct is how much farther back of the scapula and all of this shoulder blade area comes. So right in here, this really needs to come back quite a bit. So I'll go just a little bit to the side and just pull that back. And same thing at the latimus muscles, they usually got to come out. So you usually got to go down a little bit, bring the trapezius or the tricep in. And you're going to have a pretty good pinch right here that you're moving towards. So just be prepared to make that. I'll hit D one time, get down to some subdivisions. And then if you need to mask off an area while you're working, you can always hold control mask that off, Control Alt take away. And that way now I can get it underneath here. Remember, you can't go up and down the subdivisions with the mask on, so just be prepared for that. So right here is a drop, I think, down where the trapezius comes down to the side here. You can see the bones, the bony protrusion for the scapula. It's one of the first things you want to learn here. And Shift F one time, and again, to make sure we're seeing the wireframes on solid. Control drag to get rid of the mask, and then Control B is my regular buildup. And just build up some of these larger, the deltoid is 3 muscles, major structures at least. There's one in the front, one from the side, and one from the back. So right here I can go in and kind of sculpt in some of that detail and at least begin to block in the back of the tricep here. So I'm doing like nice long strokes. There we go. He's really thin, so he's like a noodle man to start off with. And it's kind of on purpose, right? I wanted to have something really plain to show you how to go about defining your geometry or your, excuse me, anatomy, um, at least for the male character. The back of the neck here goes up a bit higher. I think should be coming up here. It kind of starts curving a little low. Go back down the subdivision, Control V, and I'm going to pull with a skull. Now the picture got smashed a little, so this is not quite accurate, but it definitely is not that high up for the cranium. That looks okay. Oops, a little bulge right there. And maybe bring some of that back underneath the chin a little bit more. Adam's apple right there for the male form or masculine form. Back to the front and subdivide a few times. Shift polyframe. And I want to define the scapula. So it's really a straight line almost right across the chest here and to the deltoid. So it hits the top of the deltoid. The deltoid does not come up above the collarbone. So go back down lower subdivision. I'm going to take this and I'm going to lower it down a little bit. Go up a subdivision and I can really just drop this down and make sure that 100% we have a separation right here, both from where the trapezius comes in as well from the front, where the trapezius kind of matches up from the back here to where the collarbone is as they actually attach to it. Right, you can see from the side view here, constantly flipping around side to side and kind of making those decisions where things should be connecting, kind of just pushing and nudging around a little bit. There we go. So this comes down still, down and even in some more, maybe one more subdivision. There we go. And I can bring the sternocleidomastoid. The mastoid process goes in the side. Right here, go back to my brush, build up brush, turn off the polyframe for a moment, and we're just going to go behind the jaw. Let's define the jawline a little bit more. So I'll zoom in here, and if I hold down Alt, that will push in ever so slightly. Now, dam standard is probably a little bit better. So when I do the dam standard, Damien standard brush, it's going to kind of give me that little line, so I can kind of get that nice curvature for the jawline that I want in there, and then smooth it out immediately. So a lot of these moves, I'm going to do a few strokes and then immediately smooth it out. So I'm going to do the sternocleidomastoids right here, go around the side as I go towards the front of the neck. Where they touch, it's a little faded right there. I can't quite see. Once I get down here, I'm just going to hit shift a few times. So I'm trying to go as fast as I can and define all of this quickly based on my knowledge of anatomy. And so dam standard again. And the shortcut for that is Alt M. So Alt M, I got to re-memorize. It's been a few years. It's really good to be back in ZBrush again. Now it's definitely an incredibly fun application. There we go. I get the nape of the neck in here. Okay, go to the side view, make sure, see all the Adam's apples coming along. Control B, shift smooth, bring it down for the throat. Smooth, smooth it out. Zoom back a little, and everything will come into focus as we go along. So Alt M again. So dam sand, a lot of these lines I'm going to dam sand kind of slash in like that collarbone. It kind of goes up a little and then down. It's almost perfectly straight though out here. There's a bump right there, and we can kind of see from the side view how that's playing out. So once I've pushed that in a little bit, I'll go back to my main brush, Control B, and with Alt held down, I'm going to push in behind the collarbone, kind of up around the neck, and kind of push in back to the trapezius muscle. So I'm kind of just like a pit right in here. There's a lot of tendons and sinew, and then hold Shift and smooth that out a little bit. There we go. So that's a little closer to how the trapezius actually goes through, and we'll get into some of the other detail, but we'll go a little faster here. I want to define the sternum as well, so back to Alt M, to my dam standard. I'm going to go up here, and the delta is in a curve right about there, down, pectoral right about there, and down. Bring the pec down here. It's going to come up and center. Oops, like that. Control B, and do the clay buildup and just kind of build up a little bit of muscle mass. We could get out the detailed reference for from the figure sculpting book. We could get out the detailed reference for the torso and make sure my strokes are each matching the actual stroke of the direction the muscle fibers go. But for now, I'm gonna not get that detailed yet. I just want to mark all the major muscle groups here. Do the rib cage comes up right about there. You see it sticks out. So one of the bony protrusions right there. The abdomen he has sticking out. Usually I think this sticks out a little more, but it can. Depends on the person, of course. So go back to Control B and just kind of maybe a little bit bigger brush. Maybe change the focal shift so I have a little bit of a fall off when I'm pressing harder to lighter. So light press versus a harder press is going to get me a bigger one. You want to get that barrel of the chest. So I'm going to look up, and you can see I have a really good curvature going here. If you find your torso or any parts of the body are getting too square and too kind of blocky, like flat on the sides and flat from the front from a different view, then you want to be sure and look at that from the bottom up or the top down view. And so he's getting a little bigger in the chest region. That's good. That's what I want. Do like a little bit here more in the bicep. So kind of bring a few strokes here on the side, just using a regular clay buildup. A little bit from that side. There's a little cut that goes across here. There's a bicep that does have two. So I can go Shift M, smaller brush, and I can kind of carve in this little separation here that happens, the deltoid. And the hands here are different. They have a forearm forward, forearm back, instead of it being in the exactly neutral 90 pose. So that's just that particular reference. Back to Control B. And I'm going to put in some of the abs here. So get more precise later. So I'm just going to do one. And then I could even just do the whole thing as a strip and then cut into them down to the crotch, to the groin region. Comes up in the front here. And then similar shift, smooth it out a little bit. Go back to the Alt M, go back to Dam Standard and carve away. It's one. And there's two. And I go down three for the belly button. Right here I can Control D and subdivide one more time if I need to, and just come in here and they have it like right in between. I've seen it positioned in multiple different places, so I'm not 100% comfortable that I have it positioned just right, but down the side, and you have the come up here. Another bony protrusion just below the obliques. The side muscles is the pelvic ridge. It's a really important one. So when doing the torso like this, I think it's important to hide the arms a little bit. So I'm going to go to the lowest subdivision, so Shift D all the way down, hold down Control. As I drag, I'm going to hit Shift, Control Alt, Shift. Let's see, whoops, try it again. There we go, Control Alt Shift, that hides some of the geometry here. There we go. So when I go to the side here and I go back up in D a few times, now I can really focus on some of the more difficult landmarks on the human anatomy, which is the pelvic ridge right here, the gluteus medius right here, and the gluteus maximus, and how far down the back of the um, from the rear end that it goes. So I'll go Shift D back down. You can see my subdivisions are going up and down here. I just do D and Shift D constantly as you have the subdivisions. You lose your subdivisions when you do sculptress mode, so I want to make sure I get this kind of locked in before we do any details. So I'm going to go up a little higher right here in the hip. There we go, and then back. And then you can see it's he's got a bit of a flat butt still, so you want to bring that back and then down. You see it comes way down the side here. It's not straight across like this line. It comes down at an angle. So although there is a line there for the crease, you want it to go down the sides quite a bit. And perspective on off, there we go. So I can kind of look right here as well. And we can maybe just lightly with Control B, regular brush, block in maybe a little bit here down to the traps. It's going to have a sharp cutoff, so I would just try and stay away from wherever I have masked away or hidden some of the geometry. And then keep the keep the lines away. I'm going to hold down Shift, smooth a little bit as we go. There we go. The lats coming in, and Shift, smooth. Go up subdivision. You see it smooths out really nicely. And this is the power of ZBrush right here. This is some of the more awesome parts of this program that I'm showing you. That how strong it, how good it is at making these brush strokes just kind of melt away into whatever detail you need. So there we go. On the side here, I'm just going to play with the rear ends. You want to make sure you get the tailbone in there. So this should go in and then down here to the side. And that slowly but surely he will grow a butt from his flat butt to a more what we call bubble butt. Inside the thighs here, but as I'm going, I don't want to get too crazy, so I'm going to come in here, the inside of the thigh, and smooth it out a little bit. Inside the thigh, smooth it out a little bit. Do the back of the hamstring. See, it's 1, 2. It really should curve inward here, so I can go down the subdivision. If I want to make it bigger changes without all the strokes, I go Shift V to my move topological, and I can really get in here with the big brush, and I can pull a lot of these basic shapes that should be there way faster than brush stroking everything. You go to the side view, so you see at the bottom of the butt, overlapping muscle, and then curves back again right there. So you really have to capture that hamstring back again as it goes. And same thing at the front here. The front of the thigh comes out the side right there. So I want to grab that front. Whoops, too much. So you want to, the early phase of block getting your anatomy, all these curves right, and all the basic forms right, you want to kind of shift between using the move topological and just a regular clay buildup brush, and then carving in with the damn standard brush the sharp edges, the creases that you need to know your marks. Looks like autosave does kick in a little bit now, so cool. So yeah, so this curves a little bit more right here as well, so I can kind of keep bringing that out. And go to the front view again and grab the inner meat there for the thigh, bring that out some more. Go, and then we could definitely bring it out here as well and up. Maybe Shift smooth it a little bit. And I think it's looking okay. He's missing his obliques. So the love handles are actually muscle, right? So a lot of people falsely try to get rid of a muscle group. So you go to the gym, they should be defined actually. So over the top of this bone right here, so that bone mass right there, the pelvic girdle, you should feel where that front bone is on your own pelvic girdle. So you always want to know where that is. And so if I go back to damn standard here, a smaller brush, I can make sure that I am indeed carving in where that pelvic girdle is, and make sure that I don't cover over it too much as I'm sculpting in some of the muscle detail here. There we go. So this overlaps, right? The oblique comes down and overlaps over the top of the, just to the edge of the pelvic girdle. There it goes. Okay, and this curves out right here. Is a nice curve right here. Some undo. So yeah, I'm getting the undo entries delete. So right here. So let's see what happens here. So getting something. I go back. Da, 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 da. You can see I can go all the way back and show everything I did. Da, 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 da. There's where I started. About there. And here's where I'm moving it towards. Pretty cool. And hiding all that sculpting right now is in the back side, so you can't see it if I were to go here. And pushing and curving. And so yeah, once it gets to a certain point, we have to go up here and delete undo history. So delete that, it's gone. You lose some functionality, but I think we need to move forward with this and keep going. So I'm gonna keep carving in these obliques them down here to the groin region and sculpting back in. So I'm just switching between dam standard and clay buildup. And yeah, dam standard again. When you do this long, what is it, the IT bend, it curves here and all the way down inside. So I'm going to start up at the top, a little sharper, maybe subdivide at one time so we can actually see the line better. And I'm going to start right where it touches at the top of the pelvic girdle and come all the way down like that. And then make sure I can see on the inside, make sure I don't curve in too fast. And again, you can get out your more detailed reference. I don't want to flick back and forth too much here while I'm working, while I'm recording, but smooth it out. And it's just amazing how well that smoothing algorithm protects the detail, and yet really softens it the way you need it to be. I wish you could see the inside of the leg from the side profile. That would be really helpful for everyone here. There we go. And D one more time, you can see as I smooth it, it's going. This is the fire and ice startup material that I use that gives me a really nice warm to cool visual display. It helps a lot, I think. Control, say Alt M, carve back in some more on the sides, maybe out here, maybe down the middle. Whoop. Yeah, and you're right on the edge of the symmetry. You have to have a real steady hand. Control B if you want to bring some more of these back out. Make a little more on the athletic side so we can see the muscles. It's a lot easier to learn with a more athletic model so you can actually see the detail before working in a more subtle of someone that's got a lot of fatty tissue or whatnot. So coming around the side here, I can go and do the ribs. So the bony protrusions right here on the side for sure. That one sticks out a lot. It comes under here, and then the latimus goes over the top of that right there. And again, I don't want to get too close to the edge there, but I can smooth that out. And Alt M, now I'll do a control and drag, and that should, or control shift tap, that should hide what I had hidden there. And now I can go back to under the armpit, and we can start doing that very difficult business of getting an armpit in there that is proper. And maybe I didn't come down far enough, I think. Yeah, go down out here a little more and then around. There we go. I think that's a bad drawing right there on that line. So Control B, so I'll bulk that pectoral. Every artist's interpretation is different. So, you know, just use your best judgment. So I'm always thinking of what overlaps. So if the pectoral muscle goes here, and then the deltoid overlaps the pectoral muscle, which connects. And then you have the deltoid, or the bicep, that actually goes underneath the pectoral muscle. So it's bicep connects, goes all the way up here, connects to the clavicle, and then the pec goes over that, and then the deltoid curls out over the top of that. And then your clavicle starts in the front here. And so it comes forward here in the front a bit. Hold down Alt, push back. You want to get that pit push back in there. Shift, smooth it out a little bit. If I got a little overzealous, it's okay. Comes up a little ridge, and then it actually curves back here. It goes back here and then comes back forward again. And you can see there's a bony protrusion right there on the drawing. So we want to capture that F on the keyboard if you ever get lost in space. A little bit bigger. Shift to smooth out. Shift to smooth out. There we go. And I'm just using Control and zooming in and out, and Alt to Alt drag to pan. Control click up and down to zoom in and out. And there it is. So it's all the way out to here. So I want to make sure I got a little bump right here. Yeah, maybe smaller brush. And bring some more muscles across here. Okay, if I catch myself being too detailed, I'll stop right away and come back. So I know that's not perfect for sure, but yeah. Come up here, so it's doughy. Get the doughy jugular, jowls, doughy face. All right, we can do some bony landmarks on the face. So yeah, no, I'll save the face for last because the face you just get lost doing the face. I think it can be really a time sink. Let's just continue down the legs. So spacebar, make my bigger and smaller. There we go. And perspective, P for perspective. And I think that's what is that, 30 minutes? Okay, that's gotten us there. All real time. All right, let's come back for the next one after we take a break, and we'll continue with going down the extremities a little bit more. We'll do a little more in the shoulders and back, and start on the legs and the arms as well.